All right, so in this video, we are going to walk through how to play Retro Bowl. It's a pretty simple game, but it's got some nuances that make it pretty fun and give you a little bit of opportunity to strategize team building in an NFL football type situation. So it's pretty fun. And so when I normally get going, I like to start with a random situation because that gives me a little bit of dynamic decision-making ability to decide if I want to stay or go. That's where I like to start. So we're going to be New York with the New York G, as they're called in Retro Bowl. But yeah, they give some good instructions at the beginning, so you can walk through that. It gives you just a little overview on getting to your roster and checking out your players. Every player comes with 4 stats, so you're going to want to get the best players with those 4 stats to make your team as competitive as possible. So we go through the early training process where it'll show you how you can complete a pass and how you will move side to side to avoid tacklers as a ball carrier. So really, those are the main aspects of the game. And so because of that, it's really a simple game that can be played anywhere. And I think that's what I love the most about it, is it's really easy to unpack, no additional controllers. You can play it handheld. And so that's just it's real simple and game that you can play in the car or, you know, anywhere. And I do mean anywhere. So it takes a little bit of getting the hang of moving side to side, but once you get it, it does feel natural. So obviously I had to go through it a few times just to try and get the rhythm of how the bags move. But you know, that's you know, once you're in the game, you're going to be moving side to side, avoiding tacklers anyway. So, you know, you might as well get used to those reps. And, of course, then there's running with the quarterback. And the instructions on that are very specific. So they only want you to dive, not run for the touchdown and then dive. And then, then there's the kicking section. So those are pretty much the action plays in the game, which also include, if you pick up the premium version, does include kick returns and some other customizable features in the game, which are nice to have. But Retro Bowl, even as a free game, is still top notch for the mobile. So I do appreciate that. And in the scenario where you start your coach's career, you are dropped in to a losing season where you have the opportunity to win or lose that game. And we are going to jump into that final game of the season, kind of develop the coach's prestige. So, got the New York Giants. Definitely going to run with the quarterback when you feel the pressure. And, you know, I really enjoy building up stats with the star players. You can't track stats if a player doesn't have a star capability. So if you draft them or they come onto your team as a free agent or you trade for them, you know, those are players basically considered star players that you can develop them to the height of their progress and then track their stats as their career develops. So that's cool that this has got like a multi-season component. So you'll see people who played this game into the 100-season lengths. So it just kind of goes to show how much people really do enjoy playing this game once you get a hang of it. So that side to side is how you're going to avoid tacklers. And, you know, some of those other attributes that your player has are the ones that are going to determine how effective he is, your player is in the maneuver. So the defense virtually kind of plays automatically. It's based off of the skills of your defenders basically determines the scenarios, whether a play is stopped for short of a touchdown or whether there's an interception or sack. So it does appear pretty random, but it is based on your stats. And I kind of like it like that. It does help to keep the game pretty simple. It also it keeps the pace of the game moving. So I do enjoy that. So as you play the game, you want to have a balanced approach that allows you to score more than the other team, control the time or the clock more than the other team, and if you have a bad or poor defense, keep them off of the field because that's when the other team is most likely to score. So. But this team actually, in its final season, they had a losing season, but the quarterback, as you may have seen, had really high accuracy. So high accuracy is going to make sure that he puts the ball on the spot. If he had better throwing power, that would mean he could throw the ball further down the field. His speed is the way that he, as a ball carrier, is able to move down the field, the speed at which he does that. And then finally, all players have a stamina rating, and that stamina rating virtually determines how well they play as the game goes on. So you'll notice that over the course of the game, the quarterback's throwing power actually decreases based on what their ranking of their stamina is. So I think that's a pretty cool feature too. And that stamina is linked to the player's condition, which as the condition gets lower, they're at more risk for fumbles and injuries. So you have to be able to watch that and manage that and using your players to effectively score. So this team's actually having pretty good success getting the ball across the line for a touchdown, which is interesting because this team doesn't play like a losing team, not with the success that they're having against Philadelphia here in the final game of the season, and it looks like the defender came up with an interception. So that's one reason why you do want to pay attention to player rankings, even on the defensive side, even though you don't necessarily play as the defense. Having a 1 or 2 or even 3 star defenders on your defense will make the difference in terms of the scoring outcomes in your games. And so if you don't want to get into a shooting match, you want to try and build up that defense to keep the other team's scores low. So the pace of the games moves pretty quick. Generally, I think there are 3 settings for length of quarter. You can do 1 minute, 2 minutes, or 3 minutes. My preference is 3 minutes, but I've also had a pretty good time doing 2 minutes as well. So you just decide what you have time for, and then you can enjoy at the length that works best for you. I love that this game's got some built-in replays that you can just rewatch the glory of a deep pass or a multi-stiff arm highlight play. So you see with those, there were some coins that moved up to the top left corner of the screen. Those are coaching tokens. Coaching tokens are super important because you use them to virtually improve the team in ways like the condition of the stadium or training facilities or being able to hire or sign free agents. The better the free agent, the more tokens it costs. So there are a couple ways to earn it, mostly by winning and by some of the choices that you make as a coach. But this is the front office screen again. So dumping a couple coins in, like I will do here for the training facilities, means that the players will reach their potential faster. And probably with that training facility being as low as it is, it doesn't mean they're going to reach it very quickly, but it means that it's better than it was. So, moderate improvements until you can fully upgrade your front office infrastructure and, help your players be the best that they can be. So when I start a new team, generally I like to pick my players. I like to start with a fresh roster. So because of that, I'm going to go ahead and clear out the players here, even the kicker, because he doesn't really have the kicking range that I think would make a difference, even though his accuracy is very good. I will take my chances in the draft, and that's how you build a team that is going to run your season for your first full season as a head coach. So you'll want to carefully look through the stats. At the beginning, if your coordinators' levels are low in terms of what their scouting understanding is, you don't get some of the conditions or the morale of the player. So you are taking your chances. The worst case scenario is that you draft a player with toxic morale. So toxic morale means the player will not reach his full potential. It means that he has a possibility of dragging down other players on the team. And then some of the between game decisions or between game scenarios that occur involving that player are generally negative. So you can't actually see their morale on their picture, but you can't see what their other conditions are without having high enough scouting rank. So just something to work towards as you're improving your team. So that first round pick, obviously going to be super important. In other games, I've made the decision to choose a wide receiver, but the wise decision if you're starting from scratch is to pick your field general, get your quarterback or the running back that you're going to really build your team around, because they're going to be touching the ball a lot. So that was my strategy this time. Also looking for some strength, like this defensive lineman, Patrick. He's got great strength and stamina, and I'm hoping that we can progress him to the point of a defensive star. And then looking for players that can add to the players that you're looking to build around. So because I've drafted a quarterback, or if you draft a quarterback, then you'll want receivers for them to throw the ball to. So that's going to be important to reduce your frustration when the games do get kind of tough. Because sometimes depending on the level or the ranking of the team that you're playing, things can get pretty dicey if you don't have outlet receivers to throw to. So spend some time looking for the players that you think are going to make the difference. I ended up looking more for wide receivers than I did for defensive players. That was just my style, but you will have to figure out the style that works best for you. So another position that I think is important is the offensive line. So you're going to need to protect your quarterback. One offensive lineman as a star does help slow the pass rush, but it really isn't going to do all of what you need. So on some teams I've had, as many as 3 offensive linemen who were all stars. And in that situation, if you put a star running back behind them, then you may have really great success, and it makes the game fun to really see your team be able to dominate. You probably noticed that I keep coming back to the running back Lampkin. I do really enjoy having a strong running back. In this case, I want to focus on receivers, because that is who my quarterback has to throw the ball to. And without receivers, he's going to become the running back. So wanted to try and avoid that and keep him healthy this season if at all possible. I don't really need a backup quarterback in this game, so I never draft more than one quarterback for my team, because it just adds confusion, and one guy is not going to get any time on the field. The whole object is to have as many players on your team on the field at one time. So if they're not injured, if they're healthy and capable, we want them on the field. And if you draft a position that can't get on the field, then you're limiting your capability. So try to avoid that. Unless you decide to do that, that's up to you. And my running back options as I go through this draft are starting to get more and more slim. But sometimes it's just the way that player selection works. So bringing in an offensive lineman and tight end, which is kind of like a receiver and an offensive lineman, does help boost my offensive line and protect my quarterback. You can probably tell that I may have gotten a little overly ambitious by taking one defensive lineman and two offensive linemen with my second round picks and a tight end with the last of my second round picks. So that kind of puts me in a tough position to need to reach for wide receivers, just like I did for the quarterback, who really was only rated as a second round pick in his value, but I drafted him first overall. So he really was a reach. But because he is going to be the most important player on the team, we are going to take that chance on him. So the draft is over. The team is set for now. Throughout the course of the first few games, you may have an opportunity to sign a couple of free agents that'll kind of walk onto their team or try out. But I feel comfortable with the team the way it's set. Star Blythe really has a good upside. So here we go. Green Bay Week 1. All right, so this is Star's first game. So first pass completed. Gotta love it. I feel like this team is pretty quick. The one thing that we didn't get out of the draft, which did make me pretty miserable, was that we didn't get the running back. So kind of being forced to throw the ball means that there are times where you're definitely going to make a mistake. That one was possibly avoidable, but depending on your defense, the ranking of your defense, some of the players are going to move real quick and just seem like they have better perception to get to the ball. So you can see that running back managed to get 3 yards, but it really was at a crawling pace. That was a throw directly into traffic, but if your receiving core, including your tight end, if their catch rankings are high, then they've got a pretty good chance to come down with the ball in most circumstances. And at times they'll even leap up or dive for passes, which is pretty cool to see. So even with 2 offensive linemen drafted in the second round, within the second quarter, at least been under pressure and already sacked one. So that means time to pull the ball down and run. And so Star is actually pretty quick. And that helps to open up things down the field. Nice little pass over the top. So when you go to pass, if you give a double tap, then you can throw the bullet pass, which might help get the pass to a location faster. If you're trying to squeeze the ball into a window, is what they would call it, a window between defenders. So we're putting some points on the board, playing from behind, but so getting into a throwing rhythm is somewhat tough. Getting the ball in the spot where the receivers will catch it, because sometimes you'll go to throw it and believe that the receiver should have caught it and they don't. So it can be a little confusing at times, but you get it in the right spot, have the right rankings, then generally there aren't any problems. Getting the ball up the field, obviously going to be super important. I like to get out of bounds when possible, because especially with rookies or tired players, they fumble. So if you fumble on a bad spot or a bad situation, then it eliminates your opportunities to win. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to win. So ball control means keeping turnovers to a minimum. And that's the best way to play to win. Another thing you'll see is that I often go for 2 points. Obviously, higher risk, higher reward. But the speed of the game makes it possible to go for it occasionally or often and be rewarded with coming up with 2 points. And you'll see that the game often will go, or the AI will often go for 2 points as well in the right situations. So in that play, threw it to Mason, my second round tight end, and he fumbled it. So not much I could do about that. And of course it leads to a touchdown, getting them up almost 2 scores. And so basically playing from behind, 2-minute quarters, sacked again. Pretty rough first outing for the rookie. But at the same time, had some pretty good success. So I would be, I think this is encouraging to see a team that actually is playing this well before the interception. So 2 interceptions and 2 sacks. It's going to be a rough rookie outing. And of course, they're going to score again before time runs out. So that is how this one is going to just about play out. Take a couple shots down the field. But it's going to be too late to actually win this one. There's not going to be enough time. So use your timeouts wisely. You only get so many. And, yeah, that's not going to help us this time. But, after every game, players will go through their progress. And if they have enough experience points, they will be eligible to improve a stat. Or if their stats are already full, they'll give you'll be eligible for a coaching token. So sometimes you have to decide whose morale to disturb. And if the team's doing well, you may choose to go after the coach. If the coach is doing well, then you may, or isn't doing well, you may choose to go after the team. So in this situation, another team in the league is looking to trade for my defensive lineman. And so because they've offered a future value, I am going to take it. So with that, we go into week 2, down 1 game, and you can see that Philly this year actually is a pretty strong team, very good offensively and defensively. So quick pass over the top to Mason, the tight end, and so we're off to a good start with this one. You see the pressure coming in. Honestly, having two star offensive linemen, I'm not sure what impact they have at this point, but I think as their stats build up, we'll start to see them really controlling the offensive line, or controlling the defensive line more on those drop back passes. So there'll be times where the defense will, or the coach for the defense will choose the blitz, and it's all based on what his skill level is. The coach, the better the skill level of the coach, the better plays he draws up on the field, the better, both offensive and defensively. So working your way up to the best coaches will give you the best in-game outcomes. And with that, we're going to drop one in for a score, dive in for style points. And of course, if you've got a quarterback who's quick enough, then you have all the options you need on those 2-pointers to be successful most of the time. At least to feel like you can be successful. So with that confidence, we are going to leap into the second quarter. And we got to start with another completion for a first down. That last game managed to put up 250 some odd yards and 2 touchdowns. So try to build on that. I look to see if I can, be the top scorer. See if I can earn any awards for these rookie players. So some of the available annual awards that you can claim in Retro Bowl are Offensive or Defensive Rookie of the Year. I think there's Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, MVP, and then there's maybe a postseason or Super Bowl MVP. So, and then it'll basically count those stats year over year. So if you like a player, keep him, and he happens to be really successful, you'll start to see those accolades build up. And that was actually a really great run after catch. It's pretty dope. So with that, the second quarter is closed up, and we go into the locker room up by 13. So the pace of the game moves pretty quick. You can squeeze in a game just about anywhere. And I think that's one of the things I love about it. So with that, another first down is on the books for Star. And then the interception happens. So, I guess all you can really do is learn from the interceptions. The better the team, the better the team that you're playing, the more likely the interceptions are to happen. I probably throw more picks than I should playing this game, but as long as you have fun, as long as you're winning more than you're losing, then, just have a blast and pick your spots wisely. So whenever I see that the defense is blitzing, and they're generally, if they blitz, the tight end is going to come open, I love that, and I will throw that 9 times out of 10, usually 10 times out of 10, but sometimes I might actually accidentally do something stupid with the ball. So that happens. But this core is working pretty well. Nice speed, and we're moving in on a position to win this one. So there's another first down out of bounds, and see that without enough speed out of that running back, really should get more yardage out of a pass like that. But the quarterback has got to be the running back at this point, running with his legs, and so look good, feels good, around that outside the hash for the score and 2, putting us in good position to win that one. So now we locked up 1-1. Pretty consistent scoring throughout. And then at the press interview, the post game, you can choose to praise someone. Choose to praise the more impactful in that situation. So I chose the tight end, and it improved his morale. And then we have an opportunity to improve his attribute. And so I'm going to lock in his stamina, because chances are he's going to be involved in a lot of plays. I don't want him getting injured or fumbling, because we're going back to him again and again. And here is a free agent opportunity. Generally, when they come to you toxic, the best thing to do is to reject them unless you want problems for your team. Just a piece of friendly advice. Going into week 3, versus Seattle. You can see our offense is really good in rankings while our defense is virtually non-existent, though we do have a young rookie standout, so we're going to have to count on him to come up with at least a couple of sacks or big situation tackles. So another completion on opening drive, and this time we see that quarterback scramble for a first down. That looks real neat, real clean. It's gonna drop back, psych, gonna scramble, looking for almost another first down. So quite frankly, I could see this quarterback, racking up some offensive yardage on the ground, and really being a dual threat. So that's kind of an exciting prospect, is to have multiple options and weapons to score. That's what the game is all about. All right, so Star throws another touchdown pass for this season, this time to Aussie, who's got the speed. I think his ratings were, his catch ability or his catch ranking wasn't the highest, but may have a small opportunity to improve that. With that up, or now down, after Seattle scores. So now we're down 4. That was an accidental handoff to the running back. Sometimes the controls do get a little muddied. But I guess that's just part of the charm of this game. So accept it and move on. That time back over the top to Mason, who, with him being the highest drafted receiver, is probably going to be the most impactful for us this season. That time to Welch. I do have high hopes for him, being another guy who's drafted to this team for his speed. I think that he'll also have some opportunities as Star's arm improves to have more down the field opportunities. And we like that. The big play is what we like. So finding a rhythm in your receiver's route is going to be super important. They may not adjust before they make the cut on their route. So you may need to hold the pass a little bit longer, just like on that one. I wanted him to continue up, but he's already in his route, decided that he's cutting back. So that was a miscommunication, misthrow on my part. So here we are in the third quarter. With Blythe dropping back. This time I'm going to go up the middle for the first down. And that's one of the great things about having a quarterback with high scrambling ability, is that he can take off, become unpredictable, and help us keep the ball moving up the field. So that's a really exciting capability that we have for this team. And that was a nice jumping grab by Mason in double coverage, no less. So a guy that we are learning that we can go back to again and again in the tough spots. This time I'm going to pull down and run with a sweet little slide on the end. Always slide if you can to avoid those unnecessary hits on your quarterback. And just like that, back in the end zone with the tight end. Oh, and that one was kind of a weird situation, but looks like a sack on that 2-point conversion there. So just the risk of not getting that 2-point conversion completed. And then Seattle obviously runs up. Now they're up 4. That ends the third quarter. And so then the fourth quarter becomes critical, making sure that we are efficient in our opportunities to get the ball up the field. So they're going to drop back, find Welsh for another first down. But getting the first downs with this configuration of players is actually pretty easy. It feels pretty locked in. I feel like there's a good combination of talent, and then another scramble for a first down with the quarterback, which is just awesome. So nice little go route there. Probably could have been thrown better, but it was completed for a first down, and this team is moving. So we're going to drop back again, and he's going to pull down and look to run for another first down. Just short, come up with about 10 yards, but obviously, if you like it, go again. Took the hit that time, but now you can see we're close, and there we go. So in a position to score or control the clock, we choose to score. And going for 2, and that time we're going to score. So that feels good. That's a bit of a relief. And now it's on them to do as much as they can with time running out, and what do you know, they score. So not much I can do about that. Down 2 games. Actually played pretty good. Yes, like they said, Mason played pretty good, but I'm going to choose to praise the whole team, keeping the team morale high. 3 touchdowns for Star, no interceptions, no sacks. And then the stats for Mason and the other wide receivers actually pretty good. 10 tackles. Oh, so the offensive lineman, anytime they pancake a player, it's recorded as a tackle. So that means the offensive line was actually really successful getting defensive players on the ground, which we really love. And because of that, both offensive linemen are seeing their progress go up, which is super exciting. And, of course, I'm going to bolster that blocking ability. And blocking doesn't necessarily, having your blocking ability higher doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to put the defender on the ground. It means they're going to be able to stay in front of the defender in most cases. But having that strength attribute higher as well means they will put them on the ground. So that's great for your running game. That's great for your passing game. So here at Buffalo in the first quarter, obviously things going well so far. Lots of completed passes. And some down the sideline opportunities, which is cool. And Mason's actually just a beast, man. This guy already, he's a what they call a great security blanket for the quarterback. He's there when the quarterback needs an outlet to get rid of the ball. The tight end is on the spot to make the reception and be a threat to score. So that's exactly why we did draft him as high in our receiving list as we did. So with that, throw into a crowd and come up with a completion. Gotta love that. That time, Mason, there on the spot again. There are times when you'll throw a ball to a spot and the player with the highest attribute will actually be the one to get the grab. So the highest catch attribute does determine who on the spot will get the ball when it's thrown into a crowd. So that was nice, close to a first down for running back moving at a speed of a turtle. And we're not going to take any chances without Blythe run across for the first down. Nice toss in traffic this time. Osai with the grab. And closing in on him in the second quarter. Boom! And again to Mason. So early on in his career, racking up touchdowns. And then Blythe with another 2-point conversion. And I kind of feel like he could do that over and over and over again. I feel like that's just going to be an option that's open to him with his speed. And yeah, it's not like all the quarterbacks have the kind of speed he does. So he is unique in that ability. And going into the second quarter, that was clearly overthrown. Would like to see that one back. Probably could have scored on it, but going up by 1 point into the half, so that's cool. And we got an ability to try and hold on to this lead. And just like that, it's gone. So the defense was probably an area that we will need to focus on in order to be able to stay competitive when the offense is off the field. Gotta say, Blythe is slicing and dicing out here. This buddy has cuts. And so he's really just, having a quarterback with good speed, just ripping off first downs at will is kind of what the opportunities are. So definitely a neat player to build a team around. So moving towards the bottom of the end of the third quarter, and we are climbing up the field, down 7. Yeah. So Welsh going to run for a first down, moving into the end of the fourth quarter. Probably look to get an early score here with one other chance to score after Buffalo gets their chance to score. So just like that, on the blitz, the tight end comes open, and Mason grabs another touchdown. So the better performing players in the pro version of the game, so that's the paid version of Retro Bowl, you have an opportunity to induct them into the Hall of Fame, which I think is just kind of a neat little nod to players who have been impactful. But you can also track some of their career stats over time, which I think is a pretty cool feature of the game as well. So just like that, we are near the bottom of the fourth, and on a hope and a prayer, looking to see if we can come up with one final score. 14 seconds left, and just like that, chances are blown. It's an interception. So that's going to be another loss for the New York G. Once again, we could have done a little bit better with scoring, but, it wasn't as bad of a game as it turned out that it was, with the one interception in a critical moment, 3 touchdowns. Mason turned up 2 touchdowns, and so that actually was a pretty good game, even though it was blown in the final seconds. Quick look at the free agents, who's available. I probably won't be looking to pick up any free agents, but if on your team, that may be an option if you have enough coaching credits. So could improve the training facilities again, see if we can help get these players to their top progress as early as possible. So finally, a free agent comes along that isn't toxic. And even though his morale is bad, I'm going to invite him onto this team because he is going to be head and shoulders better than a non-star player. So he's a low-level star, but he is still a star. So just like that, give him a try early on, and he already is able to rip off 4 yards, and he looks pretty quick. But having other weapons to get the ball down the field is going to take the pressure off of those situations where you throw it feeling like you have to and ends up being an interception. So just like that, I can feel the pace of this game is a little bit different now that we've got someone in the backfield as an additional option, but we are still going to rip off a big chunk of yardage. And this quarterback can take 9 yards at a clip. I mean, this team has a potential to be pretty successful if we could avoid the game-losing interceptions, and that obviously is my fault. So then, I have to make better throws in order for that not to happen. But just like that, on the ground, Blythe with his legs scores another 2-point conversion. So gotta love that. Just like that, at the top of the second quarter, everything's locked up at 8. But the New York G's are not going to quit. So back to Mason for that first down. And That's another nice little pass. I mean, this wide receiving core is not bad. If everyone doesn't end up staying for the next season, probably can make one improvement and have a really decent wide receiving core with that opportunity to improve. Even using that first round pick that was exchanged for the defensive lineman. So kind of cool opportunity there. And just like that, New York is up 8 going into the end of the second quarter. Hail Mary throw for a touchdown. I don't like that. I don't like it. So New York tries to in the New York versus New York battle. The Jays or the Jets fight back and somehow score, and then came back and scored again, which is kind of annoying. But now they're up 4. But yeah, so this, Finley gives us at least an ability to have better, better talent on that running back receiving option. Gotta love that. So moving towards the end of the third quarter, trying to make the most efficient throws possible. Obviously, a few will slip through that aren't the best, but sometimes I'll look for underneath routes. You can look for secure routes, or you can take the risky throws. That one was pretty low risk, and Welsh is going to rip off one for a long one. So, now he's getting some touchdown action, which we like. And now, boom, another 2-point conversion on the ground with his legs. That's going to definitely feel like a cheat code, because he's just in the red zone. He really is able to take advantage of that space with his speed. So pretty cool little opportunity for the rookie quarterback, Star Blythe. Oh, okay, and shake a tackler off. Escape downfield for 44 yards. I like it. And so we're in position to try and win this one. And Welsh is going to sneak across the line with that one. So now, all right, and grabbed by Mason. So that's pretty cool. So now, if the defense can hold, we might have a chance to win, but it doesn't look like they're going to. And nope. So they're able to score at will, but up 1 point with 15 seconds left. Oh, Blythe takes a sack. It was recorded as a loss. Ah, snap. So that throw, although we may not have got all the way down the field, that throw definitely cost us an opportunity at the win. So that is a slide. Moving to 1-4 on the season. The press game interview, try to balance the morale of everyone involved. Losing is hard. 4 touchdowns for Star Blythe to that 1 interception. So that should have been a really good game for Star, but all we'll remember is the loss. And J.J. Welch, we're going to improve his stamina to see if we can keep his speed moving throughout the game. Osai, we're going to improve his catching, since he's really going to hit his ceiling early with that. And then with the defensive lineman, we're going to improve his strength, because then that gives him the ability to make better tackles and potentially get a couple more sacks. So just like that, we're already moving into week 6 versus Chicago. And Chicago is going to score early. We start getting on the field. See if we can get a response touchdown. Just like that, a first down to Welch. And there on the blitz, the tight end comes open. What's interesting is just kind of like as a simple programming the simple programming of the game. If that tight end comes open, you got to take it because it'll happen. It'll happen occasionally, especially sometimes in critical situations, which just kind of shows that the game isn't necessarily making the most complex decisions, just creating matchups to try and create pressure. So I can appreciate that for what it is. Boom, but just like that, Osai is going to be on that receiving end of that dime. And just like that, New York Giants going to put 8 on the board. Top of the second quarter. Chicago comes back with a touchdown of their own. But I could easily see this one turn into a shootout, especially with the way that they're blitzing. And just like that, Mason comes open, no coverage. He's a wide open player, 18 yards. We're going to try and take that as often as possible. And complete some passes too. Great and that's right behind the coverage. He was open on that one. That's a good throw. Fortunately, the defender didn't close faster, or that may have been an interception. But some decent down the field throws. And get the running back involved. Nice little reception for 9 yards. And yeah, across the middle for the score to Osai. Boom, just like that. And then Mason for the 2-point conversion. So that's pretty cool. Going down to the bottom of the second quarter. Chicago won't get a chance to score. So we're up 3. Gotta love it. And we'll get ball. And man, that was a bad throw. Probably had a receiver open down the field. This time we'll find him. And Starr's going to get across the first down. Did he? No, he didn't get across the first down. But fortunately, he tossed up the ball and came down with that first down. So, but your decision making will influence how many turnovers you have in a game. So make better decisions and you'll have fewer turnovers. But like that, going to weave through the middle for another first down. Throws that one into traffic, probably could have been intercepted, so want to watch out for that. Moving towards the bottom of the third quarter. And man, that one was also too close for comfort, but it drops in as a dime to Welch. And then we fail on the 2-point conversion. So that's going to end the third quarter. Chicago is probably going to score again. Yes, they do. The point after touchdown, but we're up 2 points. Can we defend a 2-point lead? So we're going to try going to Osai right away, who's going to jump out of bounds. At this point of the game, we might want to stay inbounds, but sometimes habits are hard to break, especially when you're at risk of potential turnover. That time back to Mason for a nice little scamper down the field, 26 yards. Let's go to that free agent running back. Help us drip down that clock. So we've got that clock down to 25 seconds. But we're going to go ahead on that bootleg. So that's going to rack up another touchdown. And go for 2 points. And that is going to lock this one up for us. Chicago will run out of time. And just like that, 2 games on the board. So at this point, 6 games into the season, a 4-touchdown game again for Star Blythe. So really playing at a high level of productivity. Stanley Mason is going to have an opportunity to progress again. So between catching, strength, speed, and stamina. At this point, you probably could boost his speed, but we'll boost his stamina, so that gives him a more consistent level of performance throughout the game, and then we'll boost the blocking of our offensive linemen. See our staff improve. Sometimes the staff will improve over the course of games, but you also need to make sure that you can keep them, or else they'll go be good somewhere else. So we're going to avoid any toxic players, but that's going to wrap up this one. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll be back with another video soon. Peace.